the regular agenda meeting to order at 5:30. Shannon, give a roll call, please. Here. Okay, we'll jump into the administrator, staff, and consultant updates. So, Michael, that's you now. Flip your, oh, sorry, just tap it once and then point it at you. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so I don't really have anything specifically prepared for this. I have been here for 1 week. So a couple of things I will just mention is that everybody has been very welcoming so far within the city, and I've met a lot of different people and started to kind of get my legs underneath me when it comes to the filing system and paper and virtual and whether it's the personnel or budget or IT or different benefits. All these kind of things are being tossed at me, and I'm organizing it and putting it together for myself. So I think by December meeting I will have a much better grasp of things and be able to give a better update. So maybe I'll just leave it at that for now, I suppose. Unless there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. But yes, I guess one final thank you to everybody, how welcoming everybody's been. I'm very excited to be here. So.
Okay, we don't have an agenda's pretty light tonight, so we don't have any the normal Matt reads or Larry. Anything to update?
I think those are the closed meetings that are coming out, right?
Okay. So then I guess we will move on to item 4, City Council review and questions of the agenda. Councilor Berg, we'll start with you. So we just followed normal past practice on it. Larry, you can probably, anytime we have an offer to purchase property, goes into closed session and we consider the offer.
I don't think Dan's saying that there's anything wrong with the way it's closed or planning on closing the meeting. But you didn't have any information with regard to that, right? Is that what you're saying, Dan? I think it was
I don't even know where this is at. I'm sure it was. It was awful.
I think you're mentioning that you don't have the information before the meeting. And I was talking to Steve, and he was able to give it out in the regular agenda because it wouldn't be executive session. It wouldn't be a secret meeting. Secret meeting is a terrible word.
Closed meeting.
Closed meeting. So I was told that there's some lots and we're going to close the meeting and discuss an offer. I haven't seen the offer. I haven't seen anything either. I just told them what section you're going to close on if you're going to get an offer on real estate. That's all I know, Dan.
And this came in before Michael started. And so Jim and I went back through 3 different, if you remember when we had the Berdach land proposal, and then the other lot proposal up on Highway 4, and there was nothing distributed prior to those either. So we just followed the exact same procedure to keep the, pursuant to the whatever 13D05. So. Any other questions? Brian? I don't know. Councilor Levin? Councilor Waller? I also don't have any further questions on other than the agenda. Oh. I don't think that was in the packet. That was inadvertently missed, and that was the revision adding that to the consent agenda. And just for a note, if anybody didn't see there's a lettering error that I'm not even going to worry about. It's ABDE. We've got some formatting issues with the Word document. I think Michael had said he's just going to kind of restart from scratch and just redo it to get the formatting right. But there was a approval of a hiring, and the gentleman had ran into some logistical trouble and didn't get moved in time. So hopefully in the future that'll work out fine. But that's why there's when it was removed from the agenda under 11C, that there's not actually C now. So, but I guess there's nothing saying that we have to have letters in order. But so it's not going to be worth taking time to revise the agenda on that from. So, all right. Well, if nobody has any questions at all, I mean, like I said, it's a pretty light agenda on the new business. So, I will go ahead and ask for a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting. It has been moved and seconded to adjourn the agenda meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. 17:36. We will call the regular City Council meeting of the City of Biwabik to order. Shannon, can I have a roll call, please?
Here.
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 Here. Please stand if you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Prior to starting regular business, I would like to recognize Veterans Day tomorrow and to honor those that have served and allow us to exercise the freedoms that we have here today. So, and I would also like to note the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald sinking, where 29 people lost their lives on this day in Lake Superior. So, moving on to item 4, agenda approval.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, consent agenda.
Support.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will now close the regular council meeting at 18:01 and open the nuisance hearing. Nuisance hearing item 1, 110 North 3rd Avenue. I'm going to ask, is there anybody here from the property or a representative of? Okay. Council, before you, there was photographs from the initial complaint and then some updated photographs today, I believe, from Ty. Chief Teacher, did you have anything? I don't have the initial letter with us. I don't know if we can act on the mattresses. Was there any, normally there's a letter in here with this. I don't see that, so. No refuse or anything? Okay, so we can only act on the vehicles that are in the photographs tonight then. Site 3 vehicles. Council, wishes, comments? think so. Is that a motion to abate?
Yes, I'm not.
Been moved and seconded to abate the vehicles on 110 North 3rd Avenue. Is there any discussion?
Have they been notified? Okay, so they have been notified. Okay, thank you.
And I assume they've given them the 10-day. Oh, okay.
Give them a chance.
August. Oh, okay then.
I'll take the Jeep.
Right.
Huh?
Sure.
No, I
Okay.
said I would take the Jeep, I said. That's what I said, yeah. I'll put tags on that thing.
Okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will now close the nuisance hearing at 18:05 and reopen the regular council meeting. Item 8, presentations. We have no one registered. And we'll move on to number 9, mayor and council member reports. Council Berg.
Yeah, I have 4 of them, and they're basically related to all the bills. I see there was 2 on the Quint again, and I see the Quint is gone again. And Chief Mackey put in a report on why it's gone. We're sticking a ton of money into that thing, and I don't know when it's time to pull the trigger, but it's a money eater. Second thing is I see a bill to Seppi's. I went down by the city hall last week looking at. I thought we approved this about 4 months ago to put the waste and I saw the pylons or whatever they are stacked up. Nothing's been done. Is there an update on when we're going to do that?
I think
Paid all the bills. We approved them months ago.
the last load was delivered because they make them to order. The last load was delivered probably a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks ago. I believe was the last. Maybe it might have been 4 weeks now. I don't know the status of where we're at. I've sent multiple emails to our public works department asking about it. I've gotten no reply.
I could tell you there's nothing on iWorks. The third one is I see there's a bill to the Wasabi East for lifeguards and stuff. I think something has to be done with our lifeguards. I was down there a few times, and I'm not nosy, but I saw them sleeping on cots down there, and I'm thinking, are we paying for that? But
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna look and see if we can get off that contract and find some years. And then, always have to go through my. Getting rid of lifeguards, wanting to make sure contracts for everything.
Okay.
These go off with everything.
the last thing is on our agenda later on. We're trying to approve another public works employee. But I've been watching our iWorks report month after month, and there is absolutely no justification why we need a 4th one. I don't think anybody knows what's going on. When you get a monthly report that's about half a paragraph what they did for the entire month, there's no way I can vote for approving a 4th member until it's justified. But that's all I have.
Councilor.
Excuse me. I just had 2 things. I just want to thank Jim Wycombe for doing all the hard work in town, and then I want to welcome Michael to the city of Biwabik, and on the journey. And that's all I have.
Councilor Nemi. Councilor Waller.
Yeah, as you know, I'm the liaison for the Planning and Zoning Commission, and at our last meeting, we talked about the short-term rental ordinance for the city of Biwabik, and we need more information gathered because right now we don't even know how many short-term rentals are licensed in Biwabik or at Reuters Retreat. So right now, Michael agreed that he would try to find us that information, and then we need to have a way to enforce the ordinance because there's, it's kind of mind-boggling, the whole thing. So that's what planning and zoning is working on. And then this is, I guess, for Steve and Michael, maybe, the Minnesota DNR overpayment. Any information on that? Did we actually receive all that money that they said we did?
We did receive that funding. We still don't know any of the math behind it. I've been working with Executive Director Peltier at the Rams Board, kind of working with some of the other communities that are going through this. I know Hibbing got a back pay check for about $400,000, and they're like, we don't want to spend it because we're not sure if they're accurate or not, because they don't want to come back 2 years from now and say, well, you owe us that $400,000 back. So that's being discussed still, and I think we're going to end up likely getting our state representative and state senator involved. So it's kind of the next step. So
Okay.
it's still in progress. The county is open to a multi-year repayment plan, but they wouldn't even, we tried to say, hey, how about future payments? And they had no interest in deducting from future payments. So that kind of makes us believe there may not be any future payments. So, but it's currently being discussed, and something will have to come to head because we're going to have to figure it out in the budget here before the December meeting.
Any updates on the cameras that we're supposed to get for town?
They're delivered. Michael, you might have more on that.
Yeah, I don't have too much, but I know that they were delivered. I understand a couple of those that I have just sort of gotten what I would understanding that system and everything. How much of that, like, basically what I have right now, which is kind of probably physically here.
Physically here. I think Amtech has been looped in for a few of the electricals. So, because obviously we don't want to just zip tie extension cords to a pole.
So it's in process. That's
yes.
good.
Yeah, they have been delivered, and they are.
And then I just want to remind everybody about the Why Not Fest is December 6th, so it'll be before our next city council meeting. And that's all I have.
Okay. So just a quick update on the CTC, which is our fiber internet. They are supposed to be here, I think, next week, and it'll finally be where we can actually Zoom our attorney and we can stream our meeting all at the same time. It'll be very nice, very 2005-ish. It'll be great, and it'll actually be cheaper. So, looking forward to that. I do also want to thank former Mayor Wycombe for stepping in through this transition period. I don't know what we would have done without him, and I know the rest of the office staff is very happy to have somebody full-time in there as well, because they've had to do a lot of extra in that time frame. If anybody noticed, MnDOT did do some grinding on our main street. Definitely wasn't the answer I think we were hoping for, but it's the answer we got. And if you notice, they did most of the things they ground were perpendicular to Main Street. They did not. They were told not to grind anything lengthwise because of funding purposes. They could only, and so anyways, the big tripping hazards and the big catching the skid steer bucket, those have been ground down and eliminated those problems. So hopefully that concrete kind of smooths in from an aesthetic standpoint at some shortly here. And then also, I know Councillor Berg's granddaughter Kyla was our Mesabi East cross-country state participant, and quite the big send-off with all of our local agencies around here. And it was nice to see an 8th grader, get all the pomp and circumstance for one person. It was pretty special. So it was nice to see that. And thanks to all of our emergency services that did the farewell. So, and I want to welcome Mr. Schultz to the city of Biwabik, and it's kind of been a whirlwind of a week, or last week anyway. And this is my first time here today, obviously, but I'm definitely looking forward to working with you on the team here. So that is all I have. So we'll move on to item 10, old business. Item A and B. So 6208 and 6206, I'll just loop those two together because it's kind of the same issue. Michael and Ty, I'm guessing there probably isn't much update. Paused. Well, we've already moved to abate it, so I think next steps would be to call in one of our contractors that does that. It was nice seeing it get done without that expensive bill that is going to go tax, eventually cause a tax forfeiture property. But I think, like Ty said, the worker that was working on it is currently incarcerated. So. And then item 10C, 201 Main Street abatement status. I know that, from from what I've been told is that there was some discussions and it got late in the year to redo the work, but I do believe there is a plan to get that fixed up in the spring when everything thaws back out. And I know a couple of the other neighboring businesses offered some assistance to do the labor. So I don't know if Ty or Michael have anything beyond what I just said for that. So, well, it was your first week, so the old senior center. So, like I said, I think we got to give the administrator more than 40 hours to get caught up on everything. So. All right, we will move on to item 11, new business. 11A, ratify agreement for police service. So in your packets, there is a copy of the proposal that Gilbert had sent back to us. They agreed to our numbers that we had sent back after discussion last meeting. They did ask for a few things to be added in on the unforeseen and required cost if the state of Minnesota has any more wonderful unfunded mandates, that we would be responsible for the 35% portion of that. And then they also asked that we provide our own storage for evidence, which has lots of requirements, which most I think is already here anyway. I can just about imagine. Sure. And there's no getting out of that, so. So the only thing, the notation after we met Friday morning, under section 6, that there, one of the things they had added in, and we had agreed to during the last meeting here, was the 2.5% of the, if we are late on our payments. So it's a 2.5% fee. We want to add at the end of that sentence, as everybody notices, this is a retroactive contract to cover this calendar year. And we ask that the retroactive payment not include the 2.5% interest. They also, they sent this contract over and it did not have a payment schedule with it or when the payments were due. So there's no really way to know if they're going to be late if we don't know when they're due. So when we met internally, we decided to add just this Appendix A. The same thing with the first bullet point on Appendix A, there would be add not applicable to the retroactive 2025 payments. And then that would line out the bottom bullet point on there as well. So that's all Appendix A is a clarification of when the payments are due. So I can't imagine Gilbert's going to come back and say, no, we're not going to tell you when your payments are due. So, if anybody watches the news or social media, there was, they filled their council chambers over in Gilbert, and their council did unanimously approve this agreement to send over to us. So, motion to approve with the noted changes. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and second to approve the Gilbert contract as presented with the noted changes and the appendix, and sent back to Gilbert. We are paid up current to our existing contract. So we do not have the retroactive payments that we budgeted for this year yet because we didn't have an agreement. But once we sign this, we will be up to date then as well. So, yes. Is there any more discussion?
Yes. In the bills, they're asking for 85,000 that we approved today for the third quarter.
Yes.
And if we approved this tonight, it's basically 110,000 a quarter. So I think we have to be fair to the people that we just increased it by, 25,000 or $100,000 a year.
We budgeted for the extra 100,000 this year.
I know what we
Yep.
budgeted, but I'm just saying that's what it did. We increased from 2017.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah. Right. I see what you're saying. Yep.
But what we've been paying is right now it's $100,000 more. Because basically we were paying $1,000 a day for and now it's quite a bit.
Right. Okay.
Just to be.
Yep. No, I understand now. I thought you were saying that we hadn't budgeted for it. I said, no, we budgeted for 38 this year. So
on the budget committee. It used to be anyway.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider request, or item 11B, consider request for pavilion rental August 8th through the 17th, 2026. So Curtis and Jim that own the Pine Grove Gallery are requesting to rent the pavilion for the entire week, but they had asked about possibly getting a break because they are going to cover 2 weekends on either side of the week. And they're just asking for a break as they're going to have a giant sale there in August. So, Shannon, were you there for that conversation at all? Michael, were you? Yeah, that was Sherry's request. I happened to walk in that day, and without getting too much into the weeds, they may potentially be having like a liquidation type sale. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff for sale. And they've rented the pavilion in the past, but I don't even know what our daily rate is. 5 a day.
Depends on if you're going to use the kitchen or
Kitchen.
not.
Yeah, this wouldn't have the kitchen part of it. So they're asking if we'd be willing to do, just the weekend and the weekend and, waive the middle of the week for the fees.
Do you have any idea? Do we need to make a motion before we discuss this, or can we just discuss it?
Technically, we're supposed to have a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this.
Okay, there's a motion and second to approve the request. Any discussion? So their request was to rent the pavilion for the week or the 9-day period, 2 weekends, and then waive the weekdays.
I guess my question is, I don't know if anybody was able to look back to see if during the week it's normally rented out in August. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish Sherry was here for this part because she was the one that had all the information on it. So, but, does anybody else have any other discussion?
I guess I would just say that Pine Grove Gallery has been really good as far as working with the city and, with the community. They've been, good for community events and advertising and helping out. And I mean, I think that it's appropriate that we help them out too.
Okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11D, approve hiring of Adam Lemieux for Public Works vacancy.
Support.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the hiring of Adam Lemieux for Public Works vacancy. Any discussion?
Like I said in my concerns, I have not seen any justification or it hasn't been proven what jobs have not been done in the last few months without the fourth one. So are we just hiring a fourth one because we've had fourth one for many, many years? I'm not sure, but to me, I can't justify spending this kind of money when we don't know if we need it. Maybe we do. We don't have the Catholic Church anymore. Well, the school fields are sold, or will be sold, so we don't have to mow them. I just don't feel. Instead of throwing taxpayers' money away, I think we have to justify. And I have nothing against our personnel committee. This gentleman, probably the great guy. I'm not against the person. I'm against spending taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. Discussion.
I see your point, I do. It is, I'm on negotiations with you, so I'm not allowed to say anything. So, all I can say is that we're working on it.
And we have put, like you said, we've taken on the cemetery, we've taken on Voyager's Trail, with the losing all that. So there is, we do get a lot of, I hear a lot of complaints about, things not getting done, and it's a lot harder to do it with the staff we have now versus moving ahead to the future. So I'm going to say this again. The iWork reports are incorrect to what they are because of the printout. And we've discussed this at multiple meetings. The former administrator didn't use it as it was supposed to be used. And like when people see the hours, that hours column is being pulled from the scheduling report. But if we're not scheduling, it's not going to show hours. Things like the cemetery that take up hours and hours and hours of mowing now, that we have a work order that's for the entire year, that when they go and mow, they add those hours into that. So if somebody were to deep dive into that, the hourly rate and the cost, you'd be able to see that, but the year hasn't closed out yet, so you won't see it on the, and see, we're working through the iWork thing. It wasn't worth spending time and money for the 32-hour-a-week interim administrator to learn the system, to implement it for 2 months when we're going to be doing it all over again starting last week. So that's the whole report part of it also. And Administrator Schultz and I have had already lengthy discussions, as well as the rest of the personnel committee, about the proper implementation of this and being able to track things better. And then, as a matter of information, instead of doing an annual work order for certain things, we're going to just go back to weekly, which will be in a little bit more paperwork, but will show a little bit more on a monthly basis versus being able to just go on the computer and look at it. So, yeah, that's where that's at. So, is there any more discussion from the council?
I think I could say that this individual that we want to hire is a worker. I mean, you really, I'll do it this way. If he's not, you can come and remove me from this. But everything indicates that this man is a worker.
And I guess I would just like to add that I talked to the Chisholm city administrator, and Chisholm has like 4,000 some people in their town, and they have 14 people that work for their public works department. So I think 4 for our population is not asking too much.
And like I keep saying too, is that the mayor mentioned this, we added on Warriors Retreat. We never had that before. We had 7 to 9 workers, I'm saying years ago, okay? But to just take care of the town. Now we got Warriors Retreat, now we have the cemetery. I think that with this individual, it'll be a good thing.
Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 11E, accept resignation from the fire department. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm looking at the revised one. The resignation of is 11E on the revised agenda. We skipped C because it wasn't on the paper. Another. We'll get the updated. So the resignation of Peyton Koss, who is relocating to Two Harbors. It has been moved and seconded to accept the resignation. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, external communications, the Rams annual dinner. If anybody is wanting to attend the Rams annual dinner on December 9th, Tuesday night at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center, we are able to register up to 8 guests from our organization. So if you'd like to attend, please let Administrator Schultz know as soon as possible. December 2nd is the deadline. So, okay. Item 13, open public forum. Please make sure to turn the microphone. Just click the square, the rectangle button. There you go.
Okay. Just going to follow up on the Public Works hire. And to Catherine's point and Patty's point and so forth, I'm sure he is a good worker. And as far as the ratio in terms of Chisholm and so forth, it's just a number. We don't know. But the one thing that's never been talked about here is the management of the work. Not the work itself, but how the work is managed. And that seems to really be lacking. You know, that's really what it comes down to. We've had statements from our foreman here a year ago. He said, well, gee, I'm not so sure I really want to do that. That's not my bailiwick. And so, you know, that's a significant amount of money to Councillor Burke's point here. You know, there should be 480 hours of accounted work. And count it up, it doesn't even come close to 100 probably. Even if you broke it out on it from the yearly contract. So, you know, to Councillor Wallard, if it's justified, nobody has a problem with it. But from a lot of the citizens here, it's not justified. We could see it. We're just not getting what we're paying for, irrespective of what we've hired. We brought on Voyagers Retreat, we brought on a cemetery, and so forth. And frankly, you know, that's work that we should have been able to accommodate. Thankfully, we had summer work that really took some of the burden off so-called public works off the 4 guys. But the work has not been managed. And I'm hoping that City Administrator Schultz will really jump in on that and so that it reflects in iWorks what the guys are doing on a weekly basis in a managed plan. That's all I have.
Anyone else from the public? Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to. Oh. Yes, ma'am. Please click the rectangle button there to.
So you mentioned Voyagers Retreat got added. And so what I'm curious is what work has to be performed out there?
Just plowing and maintaining. Ever since the annexation payment went away,
Yes.
the town of White was responsible for Voyagers Trail, and they no longer are. So that's essentially 5 miles of road that's now our responsibility as well.
So my question is, you know, snow plowing would be one thing, but that's not a full-time job. You know, to justify a 4th person, that doesn't take a person to do that all the time. And the other thing is like the maintenance of cutting of the grass. I don't think that would take, I'm just looking for what exactly are you going to be doing in Voyagers Retreat other than mowing the shoulders and putting down the crushed rock on the shoulders and snow plowing. I'm curious.
That should be the bulk of it. I mean, unless there's any.
But that, to me, that wouldn't add a whole other person that I can see.
I think you misunderstood. We did have 4 people and 1 person left. So we're not just
Okay.
hiring that 4th
Yeah, we're not
person.
hiring an extra
Yeah,
person
to work
at this
for
point.
Voyagers.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, the question of what actually are you doing out there in Voyagers Retreat? So
That's the hope
that's
is
the
that we
bulk
can
of it.
do our
Okay, just checking.
because we ended up spending a ton of money on contracting to get some of that done this year because we didn't have the equipment.
Yep,
either,
and
so,
I'm well aware of that work that was done.
so
Okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. Okay, item 14 is the closed session pursuant to statute 13D03 subdivision 1B for labor negotiations. So we will be closing the meeting. We will quickly reopen and reclose it for the property proposal. And then after that, the council will not take up any more business, and we will adjourn after the closed session. So you are more than welcome to wait until adjournment to come back if you'd like, but at this point in time, we'll be closing the rest of the meeting. We'll take a short recess here to